Hi, and welcome back to the Save It for Parts channel. We're here at another of St. Paul's historic caves. This cave is known as Wakan Tipi to the Dakota people, who lived here for thousands of years before the white people arrived. It was also important to other regional groups, and according to Dakota elders, the presence of petroglyphs inside the cave indicates that it was a location for council meetings and sacred ceremonies. Now, as white people do when they encounter something important to the locals, they bulldoze it, blow it up, fill it full of rubble, put a big gate on it, and, otherwise try to destroy it. So unfortunately, this ancient cave is now almost completely blocked by all this modern junk. Now, it has been reopened a few times through history. Various groups have gone in there and tried to explore it. This is actually a natural cave which was carved out of the St. Peter sandstone by the action of running water, and you might be able to see there's still a stream of water coming out of the cave. There's actually a big pond out here in front of me that stays warm pretty much year-round because of the warm water flowing out of these cave springs. Now, inside the cave, there's also a pretty large pond. Most of the cave is full of water. I'll show some historic photos of people boating around in there. So we can't explore the cave on foot because it's full of water, so I've brought down my homemade ROV, or mini submarine, again. We tried this down the bluff a little bit at the North Star Brewery Cave in a previous episode, and it worked pretty well. I've done a few improvements since then. I've added some additional lights because that footage was a little dark. I've got some floats for my tether cable so that it can float up and not just drag on the ground and catch on debris. Now, fortunately, there's this little stream that comes out of the cave, so we can send the ROV inside there and drive it around, see what's under the water. Unfortunately, I've somehow managed to short out the screen on my little control panel, so even though my navigation cam might still be working on the submarine, I won't be able to see anything live. I'll have to rely on the GoPro when I get the submarine back. And hopefully I don't get the thing stuck in there someplace. I'm going to try to just drive it around the perimeter of the cave, try to dive down in some deep spots, and see what it found when we get back home and look at the memory card. to say, absolutely do not try this at home. Do not go in there and dive underwater and swim around. Cave diving is the absolute most dangerous thing you can do. I'm scuba certified, I love caves, but cave diving is not something I'm even interested in doing. It's extremely dangerous, you'll definitely die. So that's why we sent the ROV drone in there for us to see what's down there. That way we don't have to risk ourselves in there. We're just risking a few dollars worth of PVC and some old GoPros. We have done a little bit of damage to the ROV. We've slammed into some walls, we've broken off some of the lights. This light won't turn off anymore. Some of the ballast is falling off. Other little bits and pieces are falling off here and there, but it still mostly works. One of my thrusters actually froze up when I brought it outside into the cold air, so it got some water inside of it. So I'm gonna have to fix some of that stuff, but it's mostly all still here. We didn't lose the thing, we were able to get it back, so let's take it home and see what's on the memory card of that GoPro. So I drove the ROV around in there for a while, and mostly all I saw was rocks and mud, and if I got the submarine too close to the bottom of the cave, I just stirred up a lot of dust and mud and sediment, so I couldn't see anything at that point. Now I did try to go along some of the walls of the cave looking for any old carvings or inscriptions or possibly the petroglyphs, and the most interesting thing I found was this carving, which almost looks like the head of a snake. Now, snake carvings were said to be pretty common in the original petroglyphs found in this cave. I don't know if this is one of the original ones. It seems unlikely that it would have survived underwater for this long, but it is possible. Now, the cave doesn't look all that different from some of the old historic photos I could find of it. The ceiling's fairly low, the water's pretty high, and the only really surprising thing I found was how shallow the water was. I thought that it would drop off pretty deeply back in there, but the ROV was only able to go really a few feet deep before it hit the bottom. So throughout most of the cave, the water level doesn't seem to be all that deep. I suspect that sand has washed off the ceiling and the walls and out of the spring cavities and started to fill it in. If those big metal walls at the entrance were removed, it would probably flush itself out eventually and become more of an interesting cave. It was nice to see a near complete lack of trash in here. Compared to the North Star cave, which just had tires and metal and junk all over the place, this cave had very little artificial junk on the floor. I saw one thing that looked like maybe a discarded fishing pole, and I saw one or two pieces of wood and maybe some metal chunks, but really not that much else for modern day garbage. I hope you've enjoyed this video. We have done some damage to the ROV, but it's mostly intact, and I think we can send it out again in another spot, so we'll see what we can find for that in a future episode. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.